Every year, millions of retirees book the trip they waited their whole working life for. Most come home with great photos. Some come home with a story that starts with, "So there we were, lost at midnight." We looked at real safety data, real hospital distances, and real costs across 20 destinations that sound magical in a brochure and feel very different at 7 at night. Then, we found the 5 that actually deserve your suitcase, the 5 that earn their spot honestly, without a single asterisk attached. Worst to best. Let's go. Number 20. Zanzibar's Stone Town. Backstreets. Zanzibar looks like a postcard because, honestly, it is one. Spice markets, turquoise water, that salty breeze that makes you forget your knees hurt. But wander past the main tourist strip in Stone Town, and the alleys narrow fast. No signage, no lighting, and a maze that swallows GPS signal whole. Malaria risk is real here, and it is not something your travel agent likes to bring up over cocktails. The nearest hospital with reliable emergency equipment is a genuine drive away, and Tanzania's rural clinics are not built for a cardiac scare. Stay on the main tourist corridor with a licensed guide, and Zanzibar is genuinely stunning. Wander off it alone after dark, and you are gambling with a phone that has 0 bars. And Zanzibar's maze is nothing compared to the next entry, where the danger is not hidden at all. It has its own name on the map. Number 19. Marrakech's Medina Maze. The Marrakech Medina is one of the oldest walled cities on Earth, and that is exactly the problem. It was built centuries before anyone worried about wheelchair ramps or clear street signs. Thousands of narrow, twisting alleys, all looking nearly identical, all funneling tourists toward shops that are very good at separating you from your Durham. Heat stroke is a real and documented risk here too, with summer temperatures regularly climbing past 40 degrees Celsius in the open souks. For anyone managing a heart condition, that heat combined with the walking and the crowd density is a serious variable, not a minor inconvenience. Hire a registered guide through your riad, agree on a price before you walk, and the Medina becomes magic instead of a maze. Skip that step, and you will understand exactly why so many seniors say the same thing when they get home. Quick favor before we keep going. Hit that like button right now. It genuinely helps more travelers over 60 find this list before they book. Now, back to the countdown, because number 18 swaps souks for sand, and this time the story is about who's watching you, not where you're walking. Number 18. Rio de Janeiro's Outer Copacabana. The beach itself, right along the boulevard, is patrolled and genuinely lovely. Walk 2 blocks inland into the surrounding favelas without a local guide though, and the entire equation changes. Street robbery targeting tourists is a documented and persistent issue in parts of Rio, and Brazilian police themselves recommend visitors avoid flashing phones or jewelry in unfamiliar neighborhoods. Public hospitals in Rio can be crowded and under-resourced. Private care, while excellent, requires insurance seniors should confirm before departure, not during an emergency. Stick to the beachfront hotel zone, book excursions through a reputable operator, and Rio delivers samba, sunshine, and sugarloaf views that are genuinely worth the flight. Wander 2 streets the wrong direction though, and you will find out exactly why locals never do it after dark either. Number 17 has almost no crime story at all. It is about your own 2 feet and a street that never stops moving. Number 17. Bangkok's Khao San Road. Khao San Road built its entire reputation on backpackers in their 20s, and it shows. Loud, chaotic, and absolutely not designed with a 70-year-old's evening in mind. Scooter traffic weaves through pedestrians constantly. Sidewalks are uneven, and the noise alone can be genuinely disorienting for anyone with balance or hearing concerns. Bangkok's private hospitals are actually excellent, some of the best in Southeast Asia. However, they sit a real taxi ride from this particular strip, and traffic here can turn 10 minutes into 40 without warning. A short walk toward the river, and Bangkok transforms into temples, calm canals, and some of the best hospitality on the continent. Stay on Khao San past sunset though, and you will feel every one of your years by the time you find a quiet corner. Number 16 trades neon and scooters for cobblestones and salt air, and the walk itself becomes the real test. Number 16. Cartagena's Old Town Fringe. Inside the colonial walls, Cartagena is genuinely one of the most beautiful cities in South America. Pastel buildings, horse carriages, ocean breeze rolling through cobblestone streets. Those same cobblestones, though, are uneven and glossy when wet. They are genuinely punishing for anyone with hip, knee, or balance concerns, especially on the longer stretches near the old fortress walls. Combine that terrain with Cartagena's thick, humid coastal heat, and a casual afternoon stroll can turn into real physical strain faster than most visitors expect. Colombia's healthcare system is solid in major private facilities, and Cartagena's tourist zone is well covered, so medical access is not the primary worry here. Wear real walking shoes, pace yourself with shade breaks, and hydrate more than feels necessary, and Cartagena will charm you completely. Push through the midday heat on uneven stone without a break, though, and your legs will remember it long after the flight home. Number 15 has nothing to do with terrain at all. It is entirely about the clock. Number 15, Nairobi's city center. After dark. Nairobi is often just a layover before a safari, and that is honestly the smartest way to treat it. The city center empties out significantly once businesses close. Kenyan authorities and most safari operators actively advise against walking Nairobi's downtown streets after sundown. Full stop, no exceptions. Nairobi Hospital and Aga Khan University Hospital are both genuinely excellent private-grade facilities, so the healthcare piece is not the concern here. The concern is simply being on foot alone, in the wrong part of town at the wrong hour. Book a reputable lodge transfer straight from the airport to your safari departure point, and Nairobi becomes a smooth logistics stop. Wander the streets solo after dinner, though, and you are taking a risk the entire safari industry already warned you about. Number 14 trades a quiet, empty downtown for a very specific patch of geography that your own government has already flagged. Number 14, Cabo San Lucas's inland sprawl. The Cabo Marina and Beach Resort Strip is polished, patrolled, and genuinely relaxing. Drive 15 minutes inland towards San Jose's outskirts, though, and Mexican cartel-related violence has, at various points, touched areas well outside the tourist bubble. The United States State Department has issued exercise increased caution advisories for parts of Baja California Sur, specifically because of this pattern. Cabo's private hospitals, including facilities equipped for cardiac emergencies, are excellent and close to the resort corridor, which is genuinely reassuring. The risk here is almost entirely geographic, tied to leaving that corridor without a plan. Stay resort-side, book excursions through your hotel concierge, and Cabo remains one of the most reliable warm weather escapes for retirees. Drift inland without checking current advisories first, though, and you are ignoring a warning your own government already gave you. Number 13 brings us to an island most of you have already booked flights to, and the danger there fits inside a single back seat. Number 13, Jamaica's unlicensed taxi routes. We are not relitigating the whole island here, just one very specific and very avoidable mistake. Jumping into an unlicensed, unmarked taxi outside a resort gate. Jamaica's regulated taxi network, JUTA, exists precisely because unregulated drivers have a documented history of fare disputes escalating into confrontation, according to Jamaica Tourist Board complaint records. For seniors, an argument over cab fare on an unfamiliar road far from your hotel is not a story you want. It is a stress test on a vacation your body did not sign up for. Ask for a JUTA driver by name, every single time, no exceptions. Skip that one habit, and even the safest resort corridor on the island can turn into the kind of afternoon nobody puts on a postcard. Number 12 trades the back seat of a taxi for the seat of a scooter, and the statistics there are even harder to ignore. Number 12, Phuket's back road. Scooter routes. Phuket's beaches are gorgeous, but the way most tourists get between them is on rented scooters. These scooters weave through mountain roads with sharp curves and minimal lighting. Thailand records some of the highest road fatality rates in the world per capita, and a significant share of tourist injuries here trace directly back to scooter accidents, according to Thai Traffic Authority data. For seniors, reaction time and balance make this particular risk sharper than it is for a 25-year-old backpacker who bounces off a fall. Hire a licensed driver instead, and Phuket's beaches, temples, and sunset viewpoints are entirely accessible without ever touching a handlebar. Rent that scooter anyway, though, and you are betting against a statistic that Thailand's own government openly publishes. Number 11 has no scooters and no cliffside roads, and it still manages to wear travelers down before dinner, just through sheer noise and volume. Number 11, Bali's Kuta Beach. Strip. Kuta was Bali's original tourist boomtown, and it has aged into something loud, congested, and genuinely overwhelming for a quieter traveler. The constant motorbike horns, packed sidewalks, and non-stop club music bleeding into the street create a level of sensory overload. This catches a lot of retirees completely off guard, especially after a long flight. Bali's narrow, uneven sidewalks add a real fall hazard on top of that noise and crowding, particularly after dark when lighting is inconsistent. The good news is that Bali's healthcare in the main tourist areas, including BIMC Hospital, is solid. It is used to treating international visitors, so this entry is about comfort and fatigue, not danger. Skip Kuta entirely and head toward Ubud or Sanur instead, and you get all of Bali's beauty with a fraction of the chaos. Stay in Kuta past your first afternoon, though, and you will understand why most seasoned travelers treat it as a one-night layover at best. Number 10 is not about crime or noise at all. It is about the air itself, and it catches people completely off guard. Number 10. Cusco's thin mountain air. Here is one that has nothing to do with crime and everything to do with elevation. Cusco sits above 3,300 meters, and altitude sickness hits older travelers. Anyone with heart or lung conditions, noticeably harder than it hits everyone else. Peruvian medical clinics in Cusco see altitude-related emergencies regularly. They see symptoms including shortness of breath, headache, and irregular heartbeat can appear within hours of arrival, according to published travel medicine guidance. This is not a reason to skip Machu Picchu. It is a reason to talk to your doctor first and spend a couple of days acclimatizing before you attempt any serious hiking. Do that, and Cusco becomes one of the most awe-inspiring stops on Earth. Skip the acclimatization window, though, and thin air will humble you faster than any pickpocket ever could. Number 9 swaps thin air for blazing heat, in a place carved straight out of rock. Number 9. Petra's midday heat. Jordan's rose-red city carved into rock is genuinely one of the wonders of the world, and it is also a serious physical undertaking. The main walk from the entrance to the treasury alone covers significant uneven, sun-exposed ground. Summer temperatures in Petra regularly exceed 38 degrees Celsius. Jordanian park authorities specifically advise visitors to avoid the midday hours between 11 and 3 during peak season. For seniors managing blood pressure or heart conditions, that combination of heat, incline, and distance is a genuine physical test, not a leisurely stroll. Go early, hire a horse-drawn cart for part of the route if you need it, and carry more water than feels necessary. Ignore the heat schedule, though, and Petra will remind you exactly why the locals disappear indoors at noon. Number 8 is not remote at all. If anything, it is far too popular, and that popularity itself becomes the hazard. Number 8. Venice's over-tourism. Crowds. Venice does not have a crime problem so much as a crowd problem, and for seniors, crowds are their own kind of hazard. Narrow bridges with uneven steps. No wheelchair access in most of the historic center. Acqua alta, the seasonal flooding that submerges parts of the city, adds slippery, unpredictable footing during certain months, which is worth checking before you book. The sheer density near San Marco during peak cruise ship hours can turn a 5-minute walk into a 40-minute shuffle, which is exhausting even for a traveler in great shape. Time your visit for shoulder season, stick to early mornings before the cruise crowds arrive, and Venice becomes almost peaceful. Show up in peak August at noon, though, and you will be shuffled through St. Mark's Square like cattle, unable to stop even if you needed to. If this list is saving you from a bad itinerary, drop a comment telling us which one you are crossing off first. It helps us know exactly what to cover next, and honestly, we read every single one. Number 7 takes us to a city where the ancient stones themselves are the obstacle. Number 7. Athens Plaka. Hillside streets. The Plaka neighborhood beneath the Acropolis is charming, walkable in theory, and steeper than it looks in almost every photo you've seen. Cobblestones here are uneven and can be genuinely treacherous for anyone with hip or knee concerns. This is especially true after evening rain, and the climb up toward the Acropolis itself involves long stretches of worn marble steps with limited handrails. Add in Mediterranean summer heat with very little shade along the main pedestrian routes, and the combination of incline, uneven footing, and sun becomes a real physical test rather than a casual afternoon walk. Athens's hospital system is solid. And emergency response in the city center is fast, so the medical piece is genuinely reassuring if something does happen. Take the funicular where you can, wear proper hiking-grade shoes rather than sandals, and pace your climb with shade breaks. Skip that planning, though, and Athens Hills will test your knees long before anyone tests your patience. Our next entry is where a very different kind of trap has been perfected over generations, and it has nothing to do with hills. Number 6. Barcelona's Las Ramblas. Las Ramblas is one of the most photographed streets in Europe. It is also one of the most aggressively targeted by organized pickpocket rings. This is a pattern Spanish police have publicly acknowledged for years. The street is packed shoulder to shoulder for most of the day, which is exactly the kind of density that makes a stolen wallet nearly impossible to trace afterward. Barcelona's medical infrastructure is genuinely excellent, so if something happens beyond theft, you are in good hands quickly. Walk with your bag in front of you. Avoid distraction scams involving spilled drinks or clipboards. Do these, and Las Ramblas becomes a fun once-through stroll rather than a stress test. Get distracted for even 30 seconds, though, and you will join a very long list of tourists who never saw it coming. Number 5 sits just one train ride away, but the story there is less about a pickpocket's hand and more about the chaos of the station itself. Number 5. Rome's Termini Station District. Termini Station itself is efficient, but the blocks immediately surrounding it are a different story entirely. Fake ticket sellers posing as station staff. Aggressive unofficial porters grabbing luggage before you can object. Drivers quoting inflated flat rates. These are all documented patterns here, not rumors, according to Rome's own transit police advisories. For a jet-lagged senior arriving on an overnight train, this kind of orchestrated confusion is exactly when bad decisions get made quickly. If your hotel is near Termini, that is fine. The issue is engaging with anyone who approaches you first inside or around the station, rather than heading straight to an official taxi stand or pre-booked transfer. Book a hotel a few blocks further into a residential zone if you can, and arrange transport before you land. Engage with the wrong, helpful stranger at Termini, though, and you will pay triple before you even reach your room. Number 4 crosses the Atlantic to a street most Americans already know and still manage to underestimate. Number 4. New Orleans French Quarter. Fringe Bourbon Street itself, especially the tourist-heavy blocks, is heavily patrolled and generally fine. Wander a few blocks past that patrolled zone, though, particularly toward the edges of Trem, or the far end of the quarter, and crime rates climb noticeably, according to New Orleans Police Department district data. Uneven, historic sidewalks here are also a genuine fall risk, something local hospitals see regularly among visiting tourists. New Orleans has excellent trauma care right in the city center, which is reassuring, but prevention still beats treatment every time. Stick to the well-lit, well-patrolled core, take a cab instead of walking back late, and New Orleans delivers jazz, food, and history unlike anywhere else in America. Wander too far the wrong direction after midnight, though, and you will learn the hard way where that patrolled zone actually ends. Our next location heads south of the border, to a city where the danger is not the street itself, but what you flag down on it. Number 3. Mexico City's historic center edges. The Zocalo and the immediately surrounding historic center are genuinely safe and well monitored. A few blocks further out, though, particularly towards certain metro stations, pickpocketing and occasional express kidnapping schemes targeting tourists and taxis have been documented by Mexican authorities. The fix here is remarkably simple. Never hail a street taxi. Use an app-based ride service or one arranged directly by your hotel every single time. Mexico City's private hospitals rank among the best in Latin America, so medical care is not the concern here. Transportation choices are. Follow that one rule, and Mexico City's museums, food scene, and architecture are absolutely worth the trip. Flag down a random cab instead, though, and you are ignoring the single most consistent warning every guidebook on this city repeats. Number 2 takes us to a city split between two continents, where the trap does not come from a stranger's hand but from their smile. Number 2. Istanbul's Sultanahmet Scam Corridor. The historic core around the Blue Mosque and Hagia Sophia is beautiful and generally well patrolled. The specific risk here is a well-documented scam pattern. A friendly local strikes up conversation, recommends a bar, and the bill at the end is wildly, sometimes dangerously, inflated. Turkish police have issued repeated public warnings about this exact pattern, targeting older, solo tourists specifically. This is because they are perceived as easier marks. Istanbul's healthcare system is excellent and modern, so this entry is entirely about awareness, not infrastructure. Politely decline unsolicited bar recommendations from strangers, no matter how friendly, and Istanbul remains one of the most historically rich cities on earth. Accept that invitation, though, and you may find out exactly how expensive one glass of Reiki can become. And number one is not close. It is the destination that put an entire police force on the payroll just to handle its tourists. Number 1. Cairo and Giza's persistent scam economy. Cairo tops this half of the list, and it is not close. The pyramids of Giza are genuinely one of humanity's greatest achievements. The surrounding tourist economy around them is also one of the most aggressive scam environments recorded by Egypt's own tourism police. Unofficial guides, camel ride price traps, and persistent vendors are so consistent a problem that Egypt created a dedicated tourism police force specifically to manage it. Add in significant heat, uneven desert terrain, and long walking distances between sites, and this becomes a genuine physical undertaking on top of the scam navigation. Book a licensed Egyptologist guide before you land, agree on every price in writing, and Cairo delivers an experience nothing else on earth can replicate. Wing it without a guide, though, and you will spend more energy fending off vendors than actually looking up at the pyramids. We are done with the warnings. Everything from here forward is where your money should actually go, starting with a coastline that quietly does everything Cairo does not. Number 5. The Algarve, Portugal. Portugal's southern coast has quietly become one of the most senior-friendly destinations in Europe, and the numbers back it up. Portugal consistently ranks among the safest countries in the world according to the Global Peace Index. Towns like Lagos and Tavira combine walkable, flat old towns with modern private healthcare, including CUF hospitals that regularly treat international retirees and expats. Costs here remain noticeably lower than comparable coastal destinations in France or Italy, with quality meals often running well under €20 per person. The Algarve rewards slow mornings, long lunches, and cliffside walks with zero of the stress this list has spent so long warning you about. This alone might be the most underrated luxury in modern travel. Number 4. Crosses an ocean to a country that scrapped its own military and put the savings into your emergency room instead. Number 4. Costa Rica's Guanacaste coast. Costa Rica abolished its military back in 1948. It has spent the decades since then investing heavily in healthcare and ecotourism infrastructure instead. And Guanacaste is where that investment shows most clearly. The region hosts several JCI-accredited hospitals, an international certification confirming they meet global patient care standards, a genuinely reassuring detail for older travelers. Guanacaste's beach towns are calm, walkable, and largely free of the aggressive vendor culture found elsewhere on this list. Prices remain transparent and posted rather than negotiated on the spot. If you have made it this far and this list has genuinely changed how you are planning your next trip, go ahead and subscribe right now. We build these guides specifically for travelers who want the real picture before they book, not after. Our next entry takes us somewhere most of you have never even considered, sitting quietly in the middle of the Atlantic. Number 3. The Azores, Portugal. 9 volcanic islands sitting in the middle of the Atlantic, and somehow almost nobody over 60 has heard of them yet. Crime here is close to non-existent, largely because the population is small, tight-knit, and the islands remain relatively undiscovered by mass tourism. Hiking trails are well-marked and maintained. Hot springs offer genuine therapeutic value for joint pain. The main island of São Miguel has a modern hospital in Ponta Delgada, equipped for real emergencies. The Azores prove that remote does not have to mean risky, as long as the infrastructure quietly keeps pace behind the scenery. Something almost nowhere else on this entire list managed to pull off. Even the flight connections have improved dramatically over the last several years, making this once-hidden archipelago genuinely easy to reach. Number 2 skips the ocean crossing entirely and stays a lot closer to home for most of you watching. Number 2. Prince Edward Island, Canada. Red sand beaches, rolling green farmland, a healthcare system built on the Canadian model. This means genuinely excellent emergency care without the pricing anxiety American travelers often carry into other countries. Crime rates across the island are among the lowest in North America, and the pace of life here is deliberately, wonderfully slow. Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Charlottetown handles the island's emergency needs with a level of care that puts several entries higher up this list to shame. It is quiet, it is safe, and it might be the single most underrated senior destination on this entire continent. It is hiding in plain sight the whole time. And number one doesn't just avoid every problem this list has raised. It is the one destination that stacks every single advantage on top of the others, all in one small bay. Number 1. Kotor Bay, Montenegro. And here it is, the destination that solves nearly every problem this whole list has raised, all at once. Montenegro ranks consistently as one of the safer countries in Europe. Kotor's walled old town is flat, walkable, and completely closed to cars, which removes an entire category of risk seniors face almost everywhere else on this list. Here is the fact that actually separates it from everything else on this countdown. A short 10-minute ferry ride across the bay puts you in Croatia's Dubrovnik. This is one of the most expensive and crowded destinations in Europe. And yet, a comparable week of hotels, meals, and healthcare in Kotor typically runs a fraction of Dubrovnik's cost. They do this without sacrificing a single degree of that same dramatic, mountain-ringed coastline. You are looking at the same scenery that made Dubrovnik famous, for a small percentage of the price, with almost none of the crowds this entire list has spent 20 entries warning you about. Healthcare here is inexpensive and surprisingly modern for the region. Private clinics in Kotor and nearby Tivat used to treat international visitors without long waits. A short ferry ride connects nearby villages without ever requiring a rental car or a white-knuckle mountain drive. The Bay of Kotor itself, often compared to a fjord, delivers scenery that genuinely rivals anywhere else on this planet. It is safe, it is affordable, it is stunning, and almost nobody your age has been there yet. That, more than anything else on this list, is exactly the point. Thanks for watching. If this changed how you are planning your next trip, tell us in the comments which entry surprised you most. Want more destinations broken down this honestly, with real safety data and real costs, before you ever book a flight? Click the next video on your screen right now, and we will see you there.